in sickness or in health, to love and to cherish till death do us part. And hereto I pledge you my faithfulness. I love you as I love no other. All that I am, I share with you. I take you to be my spouse through health and sickness, through plenty and want, through joy and sorrow, now and forever. That is what wedding vows say. And do you really think you're ready for all that? Today's video is to my brides-to-be and husbands-to-be, if a man is watching. I wanted to start this video off with vows because a lot of times we think we know what they say. Know that some vows are different based off your religion. Sometimes they include like other things, but that's pretty standard. I think that from speaking from experience, I have been married before. I was young, I was excited, you get engaged, and then you focus on the planning and you're so excited. And personally, I feel like focusing in on all of that, because it is necessary if you plan to have a wedding, to think about all that all the time, you can get swallowed by that being the focus and lose sight of things you should kind of do before you really say, I do. My first point that I want to ask is, do you really even know what you're agreeing to? I feel like I thought I was ready for marriage because it's like, well, I love this person. We've been together for this amount of years. You know, we good. You asked, I said yes, like everything's gonna be great. We can work through anything, like whatever. But as someone who comes from a Christian background, when I was at the time reading the Bible about what it says about marriage, I don't think I was really fully receiving the fullness of everything I was really reading. If you are someone who is religious, and even if you're not, marriage is a very serious thing, and sometimes it doesn't hit you until you're married, how serious what you just did was. Personally, I don't regret getting married. I'm glad I did it. I learned a lot. It changed my spiritual life because I feel like when you get married, something like spiritual shifts in you. And I feel like the reason why a lot of married people say, oh, the first year is so hard, I think it's because, I think that married people usually say that the first year of marriage is so hard because that first year you feel the shift in your relationship. And you're like, whoa, we just legally binded one another and we just made a huge commitment. For some of you, you are changing your name. You are changing your entire life. Maybe you're moving. Maybe you're just a lot of change is happening all at once, and it can be overwhelming. And you feel like you finally start really noticing the person you said yes to, because it's like, wow, I'm supposed to be with you forever, and I didn't realize that's what I said, even though I thought I did. You start to like pay attention a little bit more, because it's like, wait, I'm gonna be not stuck with you. I don't want to say that, but like I agreed to forever, and maybe I didn't really mean it.
Look what you did.
Or now that you, yeah, it just is intense. So I just feel like sometimes I think it's important during the engagement period, if you can, to really slow down, take a lot of breaks to stay focused on understanding what marriage is and what it means. I think that, speaking from someone who is going through a divorce, you should educate yourself on divorce. Because if I did, I think I would have probably been more not rushing to meet we got engaged and then let's get married in a year or whatever. I think I would have wanted to have more time, because I think I would have wanted counseling to not be rushed. And I think I would have wanted to like slow down and really get to know him a little bit better. Because when you get divorced, in the state of Michigan at least, you have to fill out like 5 to 6 pieces of paper and send them to the court. You have to go through hearings and settlement hearings, final hearings. Your partner may or may not sign the things. You have to have like a 60-day waiting period or 6 months waiting period. If you have kids, you have to talk about like how you're going to separate things, if you put things together. It is a very long process. Getting a divorce can take about 6 months to a year or longer. And usually when you are in a state where you want to like get a divorce, you want to be able to just end it and you want to be done with that person, because obviously something happened to make you want to not be with each other forever anymore. So the fact that you can get married in a matter of a couple weeks and pay like $50, I think. But if you get a divorce, it's like $300 or more if you have to get lawyers. And it can take like 6 months to a year or longer. So I feel like if you are in a relationship where it was rocky, your engagement is even rocky, love is not always enough. And I think it's important for you to realize maybe you don't know everything. Maybe you should educate yourself on your partner. Maybe you should educate yourself more on your own self. I think what people sometimes don't talk about is, what type of relationship are you even agreeing to? Are you guys on the same page with like monogamy? Are you on the same page about routines and schedule? Are you on the same page about how you want to raise kids if you choose to have kids, if you don't already have them? Are you on the same page about religion? Are you on the same page about friendships? Like, are you guys allowed to have friends of the opposite sex? I think you should get on the same page about like, how are they acting even before you're married? People do not miraculously change for the better just because they say I do. They're probably going to be the exact same person, and it's going to all hit you like a ton of bricks harder when you get married. So if you have really big problems, issues, things you're concerned about, worried about, please talk about it before you get married, because getting out of a marriage is not as easy as it is to get in one. It's actually quite confusing to sometimes figure out if you choose to do it on your own. And it is costly if you involve lawyers, and it's just not worth it. I really want the divorce rates to go down, and I really think they would if we would stop making marriage like a goal. Please, if you are watching this video and you are getting married because marriage is a goal and you're a certain age and you feel like you just need to call off the engagement. A part of me even feels like somebody who is watching a video titled "Before You Get Married, Watch This" is searching for something. You could be searching for something positive, like positive advice. But if you clicked on this because you were trying to look for a way out, just break it off. It may be embarrassing. You may lose out on money. You may fear hurting someone's feelings. But getting a divorce is not fun. It's not easy. It's really hard. It makes things worse. Leave now if you know you want to leave. And if you know that if you're kind of unsure, if you can't afford counseling, get a mentor, maybe get some books. I have a few books that I recommend you reading. There is a book by Bell Hooks called All About Love, and I really recommend it. It breaks down love in a way that is separate kind of from relationships. It's just a really good book. I don't really even know how to explain it. But weirdly, reading her book helped me realize I don't even know if I'm a loving person. I don't know if I've been loving correctly. And now that I've read this book, I felt triggered and exposed. And I was like, I definitely don't think I actually have ever loved anyone romantically. And it's not fair to the person that I said yes to have him be with someone who doesn't really want to stay, who maybe did it to check something off a box. So to spare him and myself, I had to break it off. If you can relate to anything I just said without even reading the book, consider taking a break from getting married. The other book I recommend you to read before you get married is a book by Wynter and Jonathan Pitts. It's called Emptied, and it explains a marriage that you like pour yourself out, and it's very self-sacrificial. It's just really sweet, and it breaks down what marriage should be. And when I read it, I was like, personally, I don't want to do all that. I just don't. They break down marriage in a way that is just beautiful for someone. But when I read it, I was like, I definitely don't want to do all these things. And I'm sure it can be easy if you and your spouse agree on being poured out, serving one another, keeping each other first. But if your relationship is imbalanced, if you feel like you can't trust them, if you feel like really insecure in your relationship, or if you just have a lot going on, just call it off. Like, I don't know. I just think that we get excited because somebody wants us, and we speed everything up, and we think marriage will keep somebody forever, but you need to really make sure that you like them. You need to make sure that you guys are friends. You need to make sure that if your partner can't meet your needs on a day where you need them to be met, you're still going to be okay choosing forever with them. Yeah, I just really, at the end of the day, I just really encourage you to slow down. If you feel solid in your relationship, keep going. But if there's any piece of you that feels like you're not sure, if you have a lot of anxiety about it, consider getting couples therapy, consider reading books together, and notice how your partner reacts to any of these recommendations. If you recommend to your partner, I really would like us to read this book, or I really would like, because personally, if you can afford to have a wedding, you should be able to afford couples therapy or pre-marriage therapy, or sometimes you can find it for free somewhere. You need to invest in the quality of each other's mental health, and you need to make sure that you guys really understand each other deeply before you say I do. A lot of times we think, oh, because I know his favorite color, I know his favorite food, I know it bothers him or annoys him, that's enough. It's important to get an outsider to look in, because they might ask questions that you didn't think about, such as maybe you and your partner never talked about family health, or maybe you never talked about family behavioral patterns that you haven't seen yet, but pretty much all of us are a combination of who raised us. It is very important to know each other's family backgrounds, because you're marrying each other's family. I know it's nice to think like, oh, you know, us against the world. No, you are marrying each other's families, because you both are a combination of your family. Yes, you're your own individual person, but the makeup of you comes from your mother and father, whether they were in your life or out of your life. You need to know if there's a pattern of divorce. You need to know if there's a pattern of abuse. You need to know if there's a pattern of cheating. You need to know if there's a pattern of alcoholism, drug abuse, absent fathers, absent somebody. Like, you just need to just have a genealogy moment and have everything laid out, because you never know. Like, they might have, or you might have, health conditions that you guys never thought to talk about, and it could end up being detrimental to your future children or to your future relationship. Like, you might find out that his family has a history of men having cancer, or she has a family of history of women having cancer and dying early. I know that may seem like crazy to admit, or hurtful to be like, ooh, because now I know you might die on me, I'm gonna leave you. But maybe you can't handle that. Maybe you can't handle the possibility of, because you have a history of people getting sick, I don't want to deal with that. Like, that's just real. It may sound mean, but you have to know what you can tolerate, and it is good to, as much as possible, put as much out on the line before you say I do, because getting a divorce is like the worst thing in the world. Whether you're the person to initiate it or the person to get the receiving end and force out of a marriage, it is not. You have to know your partner deeply. You just can't be surface level. So I think that you should have deeper conversations with each other, read some books, invest in getting to know each other one more time, take another lap before the wedding day, and just really have some deep conversations and just really make sure you guys are on the same page. So pump your brakes, slow down, invest in getting to know each other, and either keep going because you know you're solid, or end the relationship before you create a big, dramatic, crazy, emotional roller coaster of divorcing. I hope this video helped someone, and I thank you for watching. I'm done. I feel like that was a lot of rambling, but something's probably good.